Last week, Fantasy Flight Games repaired one of the biggest problems with the Star Wars Legion rule set, making it arguably the strongest miniature gaming system on the market today and leaving the question, will Warhammer 40k follow suit? What's up, folks? Welcome back to Tactical Tortoise, and today we're talking a little about Star Wars Legion's new line of sight rules. Last week, Fantasy Flight Games released a new tournament rules pack for the game, and nestled in alongside some clerical additions and changes to the way final placings are determined is a transformational fix for the game's broken line of sight rules. Since its release, Legion has used a realistic LOS system similar to a game like Warhammer 40k's. In Legion, LOS was determined by whether an unbroken line could be traced from the miniature's perspective, or head, essentially, to anywhere on another model, including the tips of guns, antennae, outstretched lightsabers, etc. This is one of the worst systems plaguing miniature games at the moment. It's difficult to measure, highly subjective, engenders conflict between the players, and opens up a whole host of problems with modeling for advantage, or altering a model's sculpt in some way to make it easier or harder to gain line of sight to and from it, depending on the unit's role. In my opinion, Legion has one of the most highly engineered and finely designed rule sets in the industry, featuring unique mechanics such as an objective drafting system in which players collectively determine the mission, deployment zones, and even battlefield conditions, and a unique initiative system where players bid with command cards provided by their heroes. The clunky anachronism of true line of sight rules always felt odd and half-assed next to the excellent design evident in the rest of Legion's system, and personally was the one reason I hadn't yet bought into the game. The new packet gets rid of this system almost entirely, replacing it with a volumetric line of sight system for infantry models in the game, which are the vast majority of any list. Meaning that essentially, line of sight is determined by whether a line can be drawn from a point at the top of a model's volume, which is the three-dimensional area starting at the bottom of the model's base to a predetermined height above the base, to the volume of their target. Well, it's not perfect because this method of line of sight can be measured easily with a silhouette template that Fantasy Flight provides in their latest document, and doesn't require players to bend down and try to eyeball whether they can see or not. It helps remove any possibility for contention and all possibility for modeling for advantage. Larger models like vehicles in the game are still treated as their own silhouette just as before, but with limited options to customize them, this isn't as big of an issue as it is for infantry. I should also note that this rules change is only a tournament requirement, so casual games can decide whether to use the rule or not, which is another awesome ruling for the sake of inclusiveness, since some people really do like realistic line of sight. This is a similar system to the one that Infinity uses, and it is an enormous step up for the Legion rule set. There's even a non-zero chance that you might see some Legion content from me in the future. But the question still remains, is true line of sight as big an issue for 40k? And if so, will it get changed? With longer range and more deadly guns in Warhammer as opposed to Legion, and infinitely more model customizability, some might argue that it's an even bigger problem in 40k. Modeling for advantage is so easy in 40k, and the effects of true line of sight on the table absolutely leave players disheartened and salty fairly often. Not to mention the endless judge adjudications required at competitive events that take up TO's time from dealing with actual cases of foul play. In my opinion, true line of sight is one of the last vestiges of Games Workshop's old-fashioned design philosophies, and one of the biggest impediments of the game advancing forward for the better. So will Games Workshop follow Fantasy Flight's example and update their game's LOS rules? Mid-edition changes like their reactionary erratas to the fly keyword are something that we have seen before from them, but realistically only in cases of abuse. So unless we see some insane examples of modeling for advantage, I doubt it'll change in this edition, but there is always hope. So what do you folks think about this rules addendum? Will this make you consider Star Wars Legion as a side game? I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comments below, and remember to check out Tactical Tortoise on Patreon for exclusive videos and early access to public videos. Be sure to like and subscribe, and have happy wargaming, folks.